Welcome to today's podcast. This is episode number 12, Clicks and Bricks. Today we'll be talking about backlinks. What is a backlink? How do I get one? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it today. But before we go into our subject, we have to start with our Between the Cubicles. And before we even do that, I want to introduce Nick. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm here.
Yes. So for all our viewers out there, Ken is on quarantine. He does not have COVID, but he was near someone that had COVID. So he's on his 10-day quarantine. So today we have a special guest today, Nick Glantz. Woo woo. And myself, Brian. So Nick, I know you've watched a couple episodes. You kind of know like what we're trying to do here today, and we got to do it between the cubicles.
Of course.
And today I felt like it would be a good time frame for us to talk about one of the biggest things going on right now, especially on my social media. Like I had no idea until I saw 50,000 memes come through my feed.
Yeah.
But today's the anniversary of Kobe. And I think Kobe kind of has a special place in everyone's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not everyone, but a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go on all day about this, but let's get right to it. What is one of your favorite Kobe moments?
Favorite Kobe moment? So, well, first of all, I've been a Lakers fan for a long time, and growing up, we didn't have cable in my house, so only got to really watch the games that were on ABC.
That's a lot for the Lakers, though, right?
Yeah, because they were good when I was growing up.
Like.
Yeah, and then they sucked for a while. Now they're good again. But when Kobe was playing, specifically, I remember the 2010 season. Definitely one of my favorite memories is it was during the early summer, so we were just out of school.
Okay.
So I could stay up late and watch the Lakers games because they were in the finals playing the Celtics. And I remember I was at St. Louis University basketball camp that week that it was like part of the week that they were in the finals. And that series went to 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, the game would happen the night before, and then the next day at the basketball camp, that's all everybody would talk about. And
they would have to talk about it.
They would divide us up. So at the beginning of the week, they took a vote who wants the Lakers, who wants the Celtics. And so it was half and half. And so whenever the Lakers would win, everybody would talk that shit the next day. And then, but eventually, after 7 games, the Lakers won. And I remember watching Kobe after they won get up on the scorer's desk, and he did his signature. It's like the signature picture now where he just has the ball in one hand and he's just got both hands open and just screaming and excited. And I just remember watching that celebration, and that was one of my favorite moments for sure.
This gave me goosebumps, man, because being an athlete when I was younger, that's the holy grail, dude, right? Yeah. To have that moment where you're winning a championship, right? And obviously you're on TV, you have your family there watching, you have your friends watching, you have everyone cheering your name, that is I don't know how to explain what that feels like for an athlete to be in that moment, because that's what you're training for. Yeah, you're going for it.
Yeah, I think the thing too that stands out about that Game 7, I remember, this is the most Kobe part about it is. The whole first
Kobe part about
the whole first half of the game, he sucked. He shot terrible that whole first half, and then he came back in the second half and was better, but he didn't he just put his head down and kept going. He didn't get down on himself or whatever. He was
that's basketball too, though.
Yeah, but especially Kobe.
If you're a shooter, man, 7. You got to shoot. You know what I'm saying? If you mess up, you got to just have faith that muscle memory's gonna kick in.
Yeah. But I just remember watching, I was like, man, he's not on tonight. And then halftime came out of halftime, and I mean,
Kobe was on.
Yeah, it was Kobe.
It was Kobe.
He was like, nah, I'm not laying down. Don't worry about it. I'm not done.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because my favorite Kobe moment is really not one in particular. It's a string of Kobe moments. And it would be when he developed and really coined the Mamba mentality, right? Because that was something that I took to really, really deeply, because life is always going to throw challenges your way. There's always going to be something that's going to happen. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be, oh, you got to be on a podcast today, right? Like you got to jump on this and get to work. And that mama mentality is just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a relentless effort to being successful. And I just think that's so powerful. I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what you have going on in your life. I mean, if you're just striving, having that relentless effort to be successful, then you apply that to all different parts of your life. I mean, I don't really think you could have a bad life. I mean, some bad stuff's going to happen, but like, you're going to fall forward every time you're doing stuff.
Yeah, it's the way you handle it. And
exactly, the way you handle it.
Yeah, I think that's something that he stood for. And just, I mean, I love listening to the stories about him, like, getting up at 3 a.m. and being in the Lakers facility already, ready to go. And it's just what he was about. And I think that's the reason why he inspired so many people, because there's not a lot of people like that. Everybody wants to be like that, but there's not.
They don't put in the work to be like that.
There's not a lot of people that are like that. So, yeah.
I love that, man. And it's even more important to me now because I guess the biggest reason is because I have 2 kids, right? I have 2 boys at that. And, you know, just think about how I was as a kid, trying to think about how I want to be a father. And I constantly think about how I can be an example. I can be an example, right? Because, like, it took me a while to realize that kids won't ever do what their parents tell them to do. Like, it'll never happen. What they do is what they see their parents doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I have to be the things and show these things throughout what I'm doing in our interactions, so they know that that's how they need to be, because that's what they're going to mimic.
Yeah.
So again, this is why that Mamba mentality means so much to me, because like it was one of those things I wanted to show to my children. Like, listen, this is how you live in this world. This is how you move in this world. This is how you get the things that you want.
Yeah.
You work hard. You stay dedicated. You're disciplined. You're determined. Nothing stops you from what you really want to get to. That falls in your moral compass. You're not going to be doing anything like terrible like that, right? Because it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
It's easy to lie, cheat, steal, right? Yeah. But I had to show that, right? So I really dig the mama mentality. It's really been a part of my life. What I've been trying to strive for is being the best version of myself every day.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
So, moving along.
Yeah.
Moving along. Great Kobe moment. Kobe, R.I.P. We love you, guy. Moving along to our topic here, okay? Today we're going to talk about what are backlinks, why are they important, how do I get one, like what's the whole deal with these guys, right? So let's talk about it. So first, I really want to let our listeners know, what is a backlink? So Nick, can you kind of dive into what is a backlink?
Yeah, so backlink basically, well, the definition, I believe, is something along the lines of a link that is listed on another website that will bring you to a different website. So, for example, if you're reading an article about 10 things to make for dinner, and then you see one that's, here's a good lasagna recipe and it's underlined or it's blue or something like that, something you can click, that's a backlink. It takes you to a different website, takes you to a different article, that's a backlink.
Okay.
So that would be the definition, so to speak.
Right. So for our listeners out there, right, if you're looking for a backlink, it sounds like you're either going to need, you're going to need either a blog, or you'll have to have something on your website that talks about it to give you an opportunity for a backlink. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So a blogging is a good way to have a backlink, right? So, and what that'll do is also help you increase your SEO, which we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So, when trying to understand what is a backlink and how it impacts your SEO, like where do we start? Right?
Yeah. I mean, first you got to start with figuring out what the backlink is, and then after that, figuring out what types of backlinks are the best for your business, and just where you need to go, where you need to put them, different stuff like that. So blogs are great. Depends on your business too, though. I mean, obviously, backlinks, if you're a web hosting company, you're going to want different websites and blogs than if you're a restaurant, something like that. So you got to find your niche, find where you need to put your backlinks.
Gotcha. So let's dive into that a little bit, right? So how about we have clients for Hostirian that are all over the place, so it's really hard to like say who our actual client is because they're in a bunch of different industries.
Yeah.
But let's just take something that's fairly common. Let's kind of just talk about it here for a little bit. So say we were I know you mentioned restaurants. What if we were like a fitness facility, right? What would be a good like backlink for a fitness facility?
Just off the top of my head, probably, I mean, people are always looking for different exercises to do, different ways to get active. So, I mean, they're going to be Googling, like, what are some, especially in these times, what are at-home workouts I can do?
There you go.
You want to get, they're going to come to an article on a blog or something like that about different exercises. If you could get a backlink saying, like, 10 great leg exercises that you can do at home with no weights.
There you go.
Or with at-home supplies or whatever.
Equipment.
Exactly. And so, I mean, that's what you want to do, you know?
Just that simple.
Just that
easy,
simple.
guys. Just that easy.
That's
what
all,
you wanna
folks.
do.
So
I love it. So, I mean, because it kind of sounds like, right, if we're trying to figure out where our backlink's going to be, for most companies, a blog is going to be the best spot for that. That's what it sounds like.
yeah, 100%. And I mean, you can get backlinks everywhere. Some of them are free, some of them you got to pay for. But I mean, you could get backlinks on places like Wikipedia. If you go to Wikipedia and you type in Julius Caesar, you might have a backlink that leads you to a National Geographic website or something like that gives you more history about Julius Caesar. You can get them anywhere, on any website.
Gotcha.
But you got to reach out to those companies, or those blogs rather, and those websites. And
initiate that conversation and kind of get the ball moving.
Exactly, yeah. And some of them...
that Mamba mentality, right?
Yeah, you got to get after it.
You got to Mamba after it.
Yep. But yeah, some of them will be free and some of them will cost money. It just depends on...
I was not aware that backlinks cost, because I guess I just kind of assumed that if it's another article you wrote or a blog,
yeah,
right, it's your blog.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, well, you got to think about it too, like if it's a blog someone else wrote and they're like, well, if I'm going to promote you on my blog, what are you going to do for me type thing. So, and that's where the cheddar cheese comes in. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why you got to pay for it.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So when we're looking at like a backlink, what does the backlink do for your SEO then?
Well, so a bunch of stuff. I always like to say that everything is connected. So one thing's going to lead to another. Everything's going to entangle in some way. So
there you go.
Backlink for your SEO, you're going to draw more traffic to your site, which then is going to help your analytics. Then more traffic eventually, if you're selling something that people want, is going to lead to more revenue, more sales, you know. So, I mean, I like to say that it's all entangled. One thing leads to another. Everything is connected. So I don't think that there's one specific thing that if you make backlinks, this is going to happen for you. I think that a whole world of things could happen for you if you do it correctly.
Interesting.
So that's just, I think it, like I said, it's all connected. So I think that that's something that a lot of people tend to forget when they're trying to do this type of stuff for their business, or if they're just starting out. They just want sales, but you gotta remember that this stuff leads to that, because everything you do, if you're doing it correctly, if you're doing it right, everything's gonna lead to
the sale.
Exactly.
And
so,
multiple sales.
Yeah,
Recurring sales.
yeah. Traffic leads to sale, and if you're creating more traffic for your website, more people are gonna see it. Higher chances you get of somebody being like, I could use that. So,
well, I mean, if you're trying to get traffic, I mean, it's kind of like it's the law of numbers, right? If you get more people seeing it, more people are going to want to buy it.
Yeah.
If no one sees it, no one can buy it.
100%, exactly. So,
right. It's funny you also mentioned that, because I kind of thought about something that my dad told me my entire life, because I lived an interesting life. I had to learn a lot of things the hard way, so to speak.
Yeah.
But my dad always told me that, like, if I would just spend my time doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to fall forward.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that when I was younger. I didn't understand, like, what does that mean, falling forward? I mean, how do you fall forward? I mean, you fell, right? Like, ow.
Yeah.
But But what you said made a lot of sense, right? Is that it's all connected, and I think there's a lot of things in life that people don't understand that's all connected.
Yeah.
And if one piece of it's not right, you're not at 100% anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to doing something like your backlinks, like trying to build your SEO, this is a part of your SEO strategy is having strong backlinks. Right. So choosing your path to make sure that you're falling forward, so to speak. You're taking your snowball and you're pushing it down the hill. If you're not moving it forward like that, it's gonna stop.
Yeah.
It's gonna stop.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that's not gonna keep that momentum going, it's going to slow down.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna make sales harder to come by.
Right. Yeah, you got to keep pushing. So, and I think that a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want to fail. Failure is good. Failure tells you what you need to work on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you fail at creating backlinks, then you know, hey, I need to work on this. I need to learn how to do this, and that's where all these different tools that you can find on the internet come in handy. I mean, they'll literally tell you what to do. That way you don't have to program your own backlinks. You can be like, I'm not good at this. Do it for me, please.
And that's another good concept, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how many times, or I don't know if you fall victim to this, something that you didn't know how to do, but you're like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. Did it work out the way you wanted to?
Most of the time, no. But I mean, if you're not trying again, then what are you doing? Like, if you're just trying something and failing and then giving up, you're never gonna get anywhere. Like, you're just gonna keep trying new things and failing. And I mean, everything takes practice. You're not gonna get good at something on the first try. So if you fail at something like, for example, backlinks, the first try, and you're like, well, that didn't work for me. I'm not gonna do that anymore. It's not worth my time. You may have been doing it wrong. You may just not know what you're doing at all. You may need to do more research, which is huge.
Some practice.
Yeah, practice. Like Allen Iverson says, practice.
What's practice? We're not talking about the game.
We're talking about practice. Exactly. So, but yeah, man. So
that's funny because I keep bringing everything back up to my kids because obviously they're a big part of my life. But this is a conversation I have all the time with not only my children, with people at the gym, right? When I'm personal training, people that I'm working with for Hostirian. So in all the different parts of my life, I have this conversation with people about just trying to do stuff and changing your relationship to change, changing your relationship to failure. Because I kind of live by the mantra that anything that I'm doing, if I want to fail fast. I don't want to spend too much time or money, any of my resources, on failing. Right? But also at the same time, I look at as a failure as like a learning opportunity. So
yeah, sometimes
I don't even
it
call
takes
it
failure.
failing. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? And I gotta learn some stuff. I needed that to happen so I can learn what I need to learn so I can make it successful the next time.
Yeah.
And you know, and that kind of goes back to, again, some of the stuff I was talking about with like parenting, and even when it comes to the gym and whatnot, because people, I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with my son where he messed something up and he's like, I can't do this, I'm done. Right? And I'm just like, dude, you tried it one time.
Yeah.
How many things in life did you try one time and you were like flawless at it?
Yeah.
Like walking?
Yeah.
Like talking?
Right.
Going to the bathroom? Right? These are all things you need some practice getting used to. Right?
Right.
And I know it sounds silly, right? But people live like that.
Yeah.
And people treat their business like that. So that's why I wanted to take this time just to mention that, because I know there's someone that's listening to this right now that is doing something in their business that's not working the way they want it to, and they're thinking that it's impossible.
Yeah.
It can't happen. They're telling themselves all these crazy stories, and they're believing the stories. Right? In their mind, that is real. That really happened.
Right.
But at the end of the day, all you need to do is do a little more research. Practice just a little bit more. Educate yourself a little bit more. And maybe you may get better at backlinks, right?
Right.
Or whatever the case may be, you're working on your business.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Got to try again.
So I got some other things. I really just want to get the understanding of backlinks. Are there any important terms that we need to know when we're trying to understand what a backlink is going to do? How does it work? What do we need to know first?
Well, it all comes down, or connects, I guess, to SEO. And one of the biggest parts of SEO is domain authority and page rank. And those are two big terms that if you don't know, you got to do some research on. Page rank is huge. That's the number one factor in determining where your business is going to come up on Google. If somebody
Gotcha.
types in donuts, and you own a donut shop,
you want to be in that conversation.
Yeah, you want to be on that first page. You want to be higher. You want to be top 3. But I mean, so PageRank is an algorithm that Google uses to come up with that score that scores you on, okay, this dude is top 5, or this business is 3rd page because their score is low. They have other things that they need to fix, which is where tools like SEO Jet come in handy. And then domain authority, another big one. Domain authority is used by basically all the other search engines like Google, or not, that are not Google. So Yahoo,
Gotcha.
Bing, people still use those, so they're still important. You don't want to only come up on Google, so you want to make sure
you just want to come up. Really.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter where it's at. You want
Exactly.
to know you are who you are.
Yeah, but domain authority, again, it's another score, kind of like PageRank, and it basically builds the authenticity of your business, and that's how you're going to get ranked higher. If Google or Bing or Yahoo sees you and says, okay, this guy checks out, he's on multiple search engines, his website is doubled down with us, their
Gotcha.
brick and mortar is set up with our location services, their phone number checks out, their email checks out that they have listed on our search engine, all that stuff, all kind of plays into the domain authority, the page rank. So,
and this is all connected to your backlinks, right? So your backlinks is going to support your SEO.
Right, and so the backlinks will drive that traffic to up your score.
Gotcha.
So the more people are clicking on this and coming to your site, the more Google is going to be like, wow, this business is getting a lot of traffic.
They're doing their job.
Exactly. That's going to drive your page rank up. That's going to drive your where you come up on Google up. It's going to get you higher.
Hey, man, they have a saying in the industry, where's the best place to hide a dead body? Second page of Google, because no one looks there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
'Cause I know if I don't find what I'm looking for on the first page of Google, I'm immediately going right back to the search bar, and I'm getting more detailed with what I'm trying to find.
Exactly.
So I guess that's when the backlinks and the SEO comes in handy, because then you can find what you're actually looking for.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And there's tons of different tools that you can use if you don't know how to do all of this by yourself, which a lot of people don't. So there's tools like that you can use to go ahead and they'll help you get through this process. So like SEO Jet, like I said that earlier, but yeah.
We're going to talk a little more about SEO Jet.
Yeah.
But I first want to kind of get through all the. I want to give all of our listeners a good idea of what backlinks are.
Yeah, for sure.
How to use them, where to go to get them, and then how that impacts your SEO, and have a good understanding of that. And then we're going to dive into SEO Jet.
Yeah.
And just for the record here, we are not affiliated with SEO Jet, but it's a tool that we're going to be talking about here pretty soon that we think is pretty valuable. And I also want to make sure I take a second here that if you're listening to this podcast, I know we're live on Facebook right now, but if you listen to the podcast on any one of our 8 platforms, make sure you subscribe to our channel, okay? Make sure you hit that star button. Give us the likes. Give us the stars. We need those ratings. And tell us about what you think about our podcast. If it's anything less than a 5, just shoot us a message, okay? And tell me how bad it is. So don't do it on the air. Just do it in my inbox. And to do that, you can text me at 314-216-2040, or you can email me at brian.montgomery@hostirian.com. That is brian.montgomery@hostirian.com. HOSTIRIAN.com. That is a mouthful.
That was a mouthful.
So many letters. So many letters. Okay. So I want to take also a quick second here to talk about a new segment that we have here, and it's called Today in History. Okay. I'm gonna take a pause here for a moment. So today in tech history, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was in 1997, on this day, electronic versus paper books in libraries. This was a big conversation in 1997, which is crazy, right? Because could you even imagine a conversation now of any business saying, we need more paper and less computers?
Yeah.
It sounds crazy to think about that.
Right.
But this was real life in 1997. I was in 8th grade.
That is the year I was born.
Oh my God, dude. You made me feel so old, man. I was 8th grade. Oh my God. So I think it's funny that this day in history, 24 years ago, it was a big debate that computers were big, right? And they were just taking up space in libraries. So libraries were combating, like, do we continue to use this? Because we don't have space for the books, the actual books in our library. 'Cause that's what a library is for.
Right.
Which I even think is even more funny when you think about today what a library is for. It's so much different than back, 24 years ago.
Yeah.
I go to the St. Louis Public Library, and it's crazy now that, they have an area where you can, they have, workstations.
Yeah, you can go there and just get on the computer, print stuff out, vote. They're voting centers now.
All kinds of stuff you could never do at a library.
People, they're like, we're not getting people in here anyways. Might as well
let them vote.
Come vote.
Yeah,
right. Definitely crazy.
So I just think it's a very interesting thing today in history for us. That is today's Today in History segment here, and I think it's fitting, right? I think it's fitting because now when you look at, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I'm not the only person that does a ton of research online because, why would you not go online? I had this conversation with my son last week. I'm like, dude, you got a computer in your hands. Why do you have a question about anything?
Yeah.
You can literally just hit the button, hey Siri, tell me this, right? And it does it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because when I was growing up, if you wanted to know stuff, you had to go find someone that knew it.
Yeah.
Which means you probably found a lot of people that did it.
Right.
So it was much harder to get information.
Yeah.
Or you have to have an encyclopedia. That was the day. When your encyclopedia came in, dude, you're like, oh, man, I got the new encyclopedia. Come over, man. Come over.
I cannot relate to that. I'm just going to be honest.
No, you were like, hey, I got the new Call of Duty. Come over, man.
Yeah. That's that boomer talk thing, encyclopedia stuff.
I'm not that old, man. I'm not that old, dude.
Oh, man.
All right, so moving along. Let's get back on subject here. So, talking about these backlinks, how does one get a backlink, man?
A lot of different ways. If you're technically skilled, I guess you could program your own. I don't even know how to do that, so good luck and more power to you if you can do it. But
don't call Nick for that.
Yeah, call somebody else. But a lot of those tools, like we were kind of talking about earlier, SEO Jet, just naming them again, because it's a great tool. And that is a tool that I've played around with, I've used, and it's awesome because they literally are like, here's 1,000 link opportunities.
Gotcha.
Go for it. And they rank each one, so they'll give it a score, from 1 to 100, obviously 100 being the best, just like in school. So, and you want to get the ones that are higher rated, but those are the ones that might cost money. So if you have a lower budget, you got to pick and choose. But like SEO Jet and different tools like that, they have ways for you to actually reach out to these different blogs and websites, and they have the outreach tool there. So you're just like, if you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know who to email to get on these blogs, I don't know who to talk to.
It helps you find those people.
Exactly. And
that's really cool.
Alley-oops it right to you. It has an outreach button that you just click.
Like a basketball show today, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's great, and you can pick and choose the ones you want, the ones that you think will be best for your business, and then SEO Jet gives you their input. They say, okay, this is a 95 rating, so this would be very beneficial for your business if you were able to get a backlink on this page.
Gotcha.
So, and it goes all the way down to 0. So, and you're going to find free ones and you're going to find ones you have to pay for all throughout. So it's not just like you're going to have to pay for everything over 90 or everything over 50. You're going to hit and miss on different ones. It just depends on what the website is. Depends on who made it, what the blog is, who you're talking to. You know what I mean? So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So your audience, your product, your industry,
yeah,
because it probably matters on how long you've been in the industry, because that could also probably help change what your results will be.
Yeah, if your company can help promote the blog that you're going on, and someone clicks that link and they're like, oh, they're affiliated with this person, that helps your blog too, because then that shows that you're reliable. You're working with people who are proven, and companies that are proven. So,
see, I just find that so incredibly challenging to promote a blog.
mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like, what are you really left with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hoping that you put the right keywords in the right place.
Right.
That's someone that's looking for that.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you just got to remember how many people there are in the world and how many people are thinking different things at one time. So.
Oh, I hope Ken's listening right now.
Oh, yeah.
Ken's a big guy on the abundance. He's like, there's so many people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, why would you waste your time on this one when there's like a million other in the city?
Somebody's always looking up what to make for dinner. So.
Yeah. So if you're selling food, that's great. But
yeah, somebody's
always web hosting.
Yeah.
Right. Where do you go then?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like somebody's always looking into their ambitions. I feel like a lot of people have those ambitions to create something, leave a part of themselves in something.
I know I am. You're speaking my language, man.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like a lot of people have that mentality, that Mamba mentality. You just got to act on it. Like we were talking about all the way back at the beginning of the show when we were talking about Kobe, a lot of people want it. You got to act on it. And it's the people that act on it are the people that have success, and the people that do the extra work, do the extra research, figure out like, oh, I failed on backlinks before, but I'm going to try it again. I'm going to learn before I try it again. I'm going to go and do some research. I'm going to figure out what I did wrong last time and what I can do better on the next time. So it's all about just having that mentality and not giving up when adversity hits, because it's most likely going to.
It's going to. It's when.
Yeah.
You're just going to win. It's not an if.
Yeah. It's always
it's going to hit. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's always about how you bounce back, I think. So, yeah.
So, sounds like you're a fan of SEO Jet.
Yeah.
That's one of your favorite tools when it comes to SEO.
Yep.
What is the thing you like the most about SEO Jet?
I think definitely just how much that they have on one service, on one website. Once you sign up with them, they give you recommendations for everything, which is awesome. They give your website a score for everything, pretty much. They give you opportunities to be like, hey, we gave you a crappy score. Here's why, and here's how to fix it. Here's some.
That's pretty cool.
Here's some direct ways that you can. We've highlighted these ways for you. This is what you're slacking on. Here's how you can fix it. Here's the button. Click the button.
So, you make it sound like it's fail-proof, right?
That's the way that I feel about it. I think that it's an awesome tool, and I think that there's just so much that goes into it. You could play around on SEO Jet for weeks, I think, and still log back on and be like, wow, I don't remember this yesterday. So it's awesome.
Massive value in this tool.
Yeah, and I think just when you're creating a company or website, business, whatever in general, you want to use a tool that's worth your resources, worth your time.
Right.
And you don't want to spend your time and resources on a tool that only is going to half-ass it for you. And so you want to make sure that you have the right tools, places that are going to make sure that not only you know what you're doing wrong, but how to fix it and how to be better the next time.
You got to focus on the fix, man.
Exactly. So, nothing is perfect, and nothing that any of us do will be perfect, but it's all about here's what's not perfect, but that's not all. Here's how you fix it. So
there's not all for $19.99.
Exactly. But,
all right. So we know what your favorite thing about it. It sounds like it's like a guide, right? Like if you're new to SEO, you're new to backlinks. It sounds like SEO Jet's a great spot for you to really start at, because you have this person or program that's going to walk you through and make it stupid easy, it sounds like, by telling you literally, you sucked right here, here's how you not suck at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? If you don't know where to start here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my next question for you then, Nick, is what's your least favorite thing about SEO Jet?
Least favorite thing is tough.
Because
there's not a lot of negatives to it. I guess, as with anything, they're going to give you limits on what plan you get and stuff like that. But that's with any website that you create something like this for. But negatives.
Interesting.
I haven't found one yet. I've been playing around with it for a while, and I mean, I have yet to find something that I'm like, I wish they did this differently, or I wish that they did this better.
Okay.
It just seems like they got it figured out. I guess the only thing that it really comes to mind is maybe throwing up a couple more tutorial videos when you're starting up.
Got you.
They only have 1 or 2 on there, which when you're first learning the system, like I said, it's a ton of stuff. And so it's a little overwhelming at first because, I mean...
if you're a rookie to it, if you've never
Yeah,
done it before, it's like speaking another language.
Exactly. And so when you're first learning it all, it's like, wow, I don't even know what I'm looking at here, and I don't know where to start. And the tutorial video that they have is good. I guess the only negative I would say is they could have a couple more, but then again, coming back to the research, we have some recurring themes here. Doing your research, doing your own research, you can learn pretty easily because there are outside resources. But yeah, if you're just looking within SEOjet itself, definitely probably tutorial videos. But once you get the hang of it, man, there's not a whole lot of negatives. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you have to find some outside resources,
Mm-hmm.
what are some outside resources that you think would be helpful for someone that's getting into SEOjet? Like, what do you think is a good spot for them to look at to find something?
Yeah, I mean, when I was first using it, I was using, YouTube, watching YouTube videos.
YouTube for the win, man.
Exactly. Blogs and stuff like that. If you're more of a reader instead of, if you want the visual, then go to YouTube. But I mean, people are making videos about this stuff, so.
Because I was just
that's where I
man,
went.
my mind said, if there's not a lot of videos on it, should we be making videos?
Yeah. People thought that already. Trust me. But,
well, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
God, I thought I was unique.
No, you thought wrong.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, being that there's some, learning curve a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to need to go out and find some other resources to help you use SEOjet. Now, I kind of want to backtrack for a quick second. I don't know why I just thought about this now. Is SEOjet a program you download on your computer? Do you put it on your website? Like, what do you do with it? How do you get the access to use this thing?
Yeah, it's a program. I don't know if they have an app, actually.
Is it a plugin?
No. So whenever I use it, I just go straight to their website and log in.
Okay.
And then through that, they hook up everything. So you create what they call it a power page, which is like, so you set up like your home page, and then that's where they start giving you ratings, stuff like that. But yeah, so I don't know if it's an app. I honestly haven't checked. But I just use it through my web browser. So you just go to SEOjet and then log in, and from there you're good. I mean, obviously when you first sign up, you have to pick a plan and everything, but
yeah, you got to pay to play.
Exactly.
Right? You got to pay to play.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's just on the browser, at least as far as I know. So.
Okay. So you mentioned the power page. What is a power page?
So power page is basically, I believe that's just a SEOjet term, something that one of their little coin terms that they use. But essentially it's just, so you have to plug in each page to get an individual score. So for example, if you have a website and you have a home page and you're like, I want to get my home page scored, I want to see how it's doing, you would plug in your home page's URL and that becomes a power page.
Gotcha.
So depending on the plan.
I love how you did the air quotes.
Yeah. Depending on the plan that you pick, though, you're going to get however many power pages. So, like, if you pick a basic plan, you might get 10 to 20 power pages, which should cover most. If you just have one website for your business or whatever, that should cover you.
So, having a power page is like, I guess I'm trying to understand, like, what is a power page still, right? Because, I mean, like, if it's something that, like, I'm saying it's a power page, or it's something I want to make it powerful?
No, I think it's just the term that they came up with to call it that. I
'Cause
don't.
when you want all your pages to be power pages.
Right. So ideally,
Right?
ideally that's what they want too. But that's just the term that they give it. So it's basically an individual URL. So your URL that you punch in becomes a power page that gets its own score. And then so let's just say like.
So it's not the whole website. It's just one page on your website.
Right. So let's say, for example, if you have a clothing company and you have a home page and then you have another tab that's like a shop tab. So you plug in your home page to get a score to see like what the traffic's looking like for your home page. You plug in that URL for your home page, and then your shop page is going to have a different URL. So if you want to see those statistics, then you go and you make that a different power page, as they call it. But so you plug in that URL for the shop page, and then that becomes their term, the power page, and then that gets its own individual ranking. And then they also do give you like a complete, this is what your website's total ranking is. But if you want to break it down even further and say, okay, like my shop page is seriously slacking, like that's what's hurting me.
Well, that's where you make the money in a clothing line.
Exactly.
You make the money on the shop page. People have to go to it and buy stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that, like putting them in as different individual power pages, it gives you the opportunity to break it down even further and see, okay, this is where I'm slacking. This is the page that I need to focus on, because my home page is really good. It has a 96 as its rank, as its score.
Their ranking.
Yeah, I think they call it a jet rank. So
we were doing quotations for the people that are listening.
Yeah.
We're doing air quotes for
that. But yeah, I think they call it a jet rank. So you're like, okay, my jet rank has a 96, but my shop page is like a 45. So my homepage, for the most part, is good.
Job.
Yeah, you might have a couple things that they recommend you work on, but obviously you're going to want to focus on the 45, especially if that's your shop page or something like that. But so that's where they kind of tell you, okay, this is where you need to focus your time and money first. This is where you need to put all your resources and get this figured out first before you even touch your other pages. So start with your worst and work up to the best type of thing. So
I think it'd be a really cool feature if SEO Jack could tell you which page should you make a power page.
Yeah, that would be great too. I mean,
I guess that's a negative. I just found a negative right now. I mean, I haven't played with it like you have, but because I mean, as a consumer, trying to think about, you know, for my business, like would I want to be a power page? I want it all to be powerful.
Yeah.
Right. Like who wants a non-power page, right?
Yeah.
You want something that's going to be working. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be driving traffic. It's going to be converting traffic.
Right.
But I guess if you're diving deep into it, you want to make sure that each page has its own objective.
Right.
So by having a power page, it allows it to have that the individuality. Mm-hmm. So you can say, okay, what's my goal for this page?
Yeah, exactly.
So when it comes to building a page, it's a whole nother realm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because
you have another tool to gauge it. You have to be able to measure it.
Right. Yep. Definitely.
Okay. So continue to move forward. What about a bad backlink? Like, so what if I mess this process up? What if I, put in the link doesn't go to a page or doesn't open up at all? Like, does that hurt my business?
It's tough because it does and it doesn't. So a bad backlink, let's just say you create a backlink.
Sounds super confusing. It does, but it does not.
I'm going to explain, I promise. So a bad backlink, it's not going to hurt you, like it won't hurt your rankings, but it will hurt your time and money that you just spent on that backlink if you did.
Opportunity cost, I like that.
Exactly.
I dig
so, like I said, it doesn't. It's not going to directly affect you, like if you get a bad backlink, but it is going to affect you because if you just put time and money into that backlink and then it doesn't go anywhere, or if it's
wasted. Exactly.
And so it doesn't, and that's where these tools like SEO Jet come in handy, and there's other ones too, other websites like SEO Jet. I want to throw that out there too. It's not the only one, but
right.
That's where these types of things come in handy because they give you the score and they say, this would be an effective backlink. This would be worth your time. This would be worth reaching out to this person, and if you're able to get a backlink, this would be worth your money on this page.
And that's the that opportunity thing you were talking about earlier, where like it'll say these are the sections where these are missed opportunities, right? And does it label the opportunity on the page, or does it say there's an opportunity? Like, is it super vague? Like,
no, yeah. So it literally will give you a link, like a list of 1,000 links, and you can click and go directly to the opportunity link. So I mean, just for example, if you get like a blog link that has a rating of an 80 of what it would be effective for your business, then you go and you click on that blog link, you read it, and you're like, wow, I like this. Like, this would be good. And SEO Jet just told me that this site has high traffic. This has the types of consumers that I want to reach with my business.
Got you.
And
so it knows your audience.
Yeah. So, and that's the benefit
really cool.
with SEO Jet is they have, when you sign up with them, they have somebody that goes in and looks at all of your stuff. And so it's not just a computer generating your scores and stuff like that. You have somebody who goes through and looks at your stuff, looks at everything you got.
That's pretty cool.
And some of it is instant and some of it is computer generated. But I know that one thing that they pride themselves on, that they say in the tutorial, like a real human being is going to look at your stuff. And I mean, that's great because I feel like that's a lot of times what people want. They're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I want a real human to look at this and like tell me what to do here. And if you can't get that, if you can't have access to a business like that,
right.
If you don't have the resources to be able to afford a business like that, that'll do it for you, something like this could be a huge benefit. So.
Yeah. I think that's really cool that they have that human interaction with it.
Yeah.
Especially in today, right, with technology. I mean, my son sits in the basement, or he sits in my man cave, which is another conversation for another podcast. But he'll sit down there and he'll play his video game and he'll be on the phone. In my mind, it blows my mind because I'm like, man, when I was your age, I'd go to my friend's house because I had to, right? But like that's how I played video game. It wasn't by myself on the phone. Like I'm actually in there with them. Yeah. And I bring that up because when it comes to like technology, people automatically assume that there's not going to be a human connection with them. Right. Yeah. It's all AI.
Yeah, and I think that's how like certain like websites that have tools like this kind of can set themselves apart, because a lot of people, especially when you're creating your business, they're going to want that. Because you get the people who are new to this, don't know what they're doing, want that. Yeah, they need help.
They can call Nick now.
Nah. No, that's what SEO Jet's
for. He said call SEO Jet if you need support.
Or call Brian. He already threw his number out.
I'm going to send you over to Nick. So.
But yeah, people want the human interaction. And they have a button right there too that you can literally chat with a real human being whenever you want. So, and they'll go in and look at all your stuff. So that's a real benefit. When I use it, I've used the chat. Like if I'm like, I don't know. Pretty
responsive, like
quick. Yeah, and it's like even just little things like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking to do. How do I do this on your website? And those
a direct question.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're like, I need help in every way possible, they can help you with that too. And they might like direct you to be able to do a phone call instead of a chat. But yeah, definitely great. So
it sounds like backlinks are still pretty relevant.
Yeah, and that's a question that I was asked a few weeks ago. Like in 2021, it's a new year. Are they still worth doing? Are they worth my time and money? Is it worth focusing on? And 100%, yeah. Because like we talked about at the beginning, everything is entangled, and one thing's going to lead to another. Backlinks are going to generate more traffic to your website. More traffic to your website is going to generate more potential buyers, and higher chance of one of those people that are coming to your site being like, I need this, or then your website being good enough to convince them that they need this or want that. So it's all connected, and definitely backlinks are still relevant for sure.
It's the same, what is that saying? You're as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you can have an awesome product, an awesome business.
Right.
But if your website is trash.
Yeah.
That's
or
not
if you
gonna
don't
work
have
for
backlinks, then nobody's going to be able to find you. So.
I mean, oh my God, I had that conversation so many times with people that like you can have the best product in the world,
Yeah.
but if no one knows you have it, it does not matter.
Yeah. Not at all.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of people. Like, a lot of people feel like they have great products. They feel like they have a great website, and they're like, why am I not getting traffic? Do you do what you're supposed to do to get traffic? Do you have backlinks? Do you promote your stuff? I mean, it's all connected. So, I mean, and even you could go even further and take it to social media and stuff like that. Do you make social media posts? Do you market on social media?
How do you post on your social media posts, right?
Yeah.
Are you just telling people to buy, or are you trying to help people and educate them?
Right. Do you even have a link to your website on your social media? Like,
do you ever tell people to go to your website?
Yeah. And do you tell people to buy your stuff? Do you tell people why they need it? I mean, it's
right.
And then that social media stuff, again, going to generate more traffic, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah. It's just so crazy being that, in this day and age, everyone uses technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been on how many websites today? You probably don't even remember.
Yeah.
Right? You've been online probably majority of your day.
Right.
And I just think it's so very interesting that people still don't know how to use it.
I was just thinking that they still don't know what they're doing.
And
yeah.
people still don't use like the simple basic stuff, right? Like I'm mad no one goes to my website, but I'm not doing anything to get people there.
Right.
Like,
but my product's great. Well, that's cool.
You didn't know.
Who do you tell? You got to tell somebody.
And selling a product online is like one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, the very first thing you got to figure out is who are you talking to?
Yeah.
If I'm going to a website, the first thing I'm thinking about, is this what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
If it's not about, right? And I'm like, okay, it is what I'm looking for. Is it going to work?
Yeah.
Right? So if you can't answer that on the first, like, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds,
yeah,
I'm gone, man.
Right. Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I found out recently that I'm not unique. So I know I'm not the only person that does that. If I can't find out on your website what you do and is it for me, I'm out. And I know everyone else is probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So a tool like SEO Jet is going to help people find you and the people you're looking for, your audience. It's going to help them say, yes, I'm what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Which is going to be a great way to drive traffic to your website.
Yeah.
Because I get that question a lot all the time is how do I drive traffic to my website? Where do I start with SEO?
Yeah.
And it's funny that most people want to go to like Facebook ads or Google ads. I'm like, man, there's so many things to do before you go that route.
Yep.
Right? Like, I mean, to me, it's like, I want to make my car go fast, so I'm just going to put a supercharger on it. Like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Right.
How about you start with a good car?
Yeah, right.
That's awesome, man. So we're approaching our time frame here to wrap up today. And do you have any tips and tricks for someone using a first timer using SEO Jet or a first timer on a budget using SEO Jet? Like, what's some tips and tricks you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously every business's budget is different. That's where the different plans on different websites come into play. If SEO Jet is too pricey or too cheap for you, like, there are other places that you can go, other tools that you can use to do the same thing or pay more or less. But definitely, I mean, advice, do your research. Don't be a potato. Like, make sure that you're doing everything that you can do before you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, did you look it up? Did you do your due diligence before
I love that response?
You said I can't do this or said this isn't working?
Did you give it an honest go?
Exactly. Were you in the gym at 3 a.m. shooting hoops like Kobe? So were you online looking up the articles you need to look up to understand what you were doing? So definitely research, and secondly, just don't give up on the first try. I feel like a lot of people, like I said, feel like they have good product, good service, good website.
People want that instant gratification, man.
Exactly.
They want to win right now.
I know, and if you look up some stories about these big companies, it takes years and it takes failing multiple times before they make it big or before they do what they set out to do. So definitely don't give up on the first try. don't give up on the second try. I mean, know what you're doing in between those tries or those fails. Do your research so that you can get better the next time you do it.
There you go.
So.
That's one of my sayings, man. If you fail 10, it's okay. Just get up 11.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
If you fail 10 and you don't get back up 11 times, that's a problem.
Yep.
Right? And to add on to what you said, if you're a newbie, you're looking to get into SEO or SEO Jet in particular, Nick said to do your research, and that's great advice. And by doing your research, you don't have to know everything. You just need to know enough to have a conversation with SEO Jet when you ask them a question, or you need to have enough that if you're going to hire someone to do this for you, you know the right questions to ask.
Yeah, that's
because
huge too.
And when you're looking for anything technology based, everyone has their own way they go about it. And if you don't do your research, everyone's going to sound like they're going to give you the world. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't be able to spot out who are the people that are not giving you accurate information, who are the people that you have no reason to trust them, right? Or who are the people that make sense.
And give you the most value, too.
Who's going to give you the most value?
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't know that unless you started with your own research. So it still starts with you putting in the work at home on your off time, not while you're at work, because you're working in your business that time frame, but you're working on your business outside of work, right? And that's when you do your research. So, Nick, thank you for coming on the show today, man.
Of course.
Can we have you back for another episode? You think you'll do another one?
Might need a pay raise, but yeah.
Talk to your agent. Talk to your agent.
Yeah, you can talk to my. I'll give you the number.
Yeah, your people talk to my people.
I don't deal with it directly.
Awesome. All right, so that's the episode here today with Clicks and Bricks. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you rate our channel. Give us those 5 stars. Okay, we need those. If you have questions or anything about our episode here today, make sure you send those to the text line at 314-216-2040. If you have questions on topics that you want to hear next or a problem that you're having, we also take recommendations, right? So let us know what you're interested in, okay? So keep working hard, keep doing your thing. We're going to make sure that the my email gets popped up here because it's a mouthful and I really don't want to say it over again, so just text me. Okay? So, Nick, any final words?
No, have that Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality. Make it count, guys.
Yep.
See you next time.